Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Performance Coaching for Empowered Black People. My name is Diane Thomas. So glad you could come and join me today. Our topic we are talking about today is, do you have what it takes to live life empowered? And I thought that was a timely topic, just based on a lot of what we are, as Black people, continuing to be faced with in the spaces that we live and work and play in. And that's always a good topic to talk about in terms of empowerment, because that's what we do on this channel. I am a big proponent of making sure that I am offering opportunities and giving you what you hopefully can find of value to help you move into the challenges and meet those challenges prepared for what's to come. Tonight is a special timing, 8 p.m. Eastern. I actually had a coaching webinar that I wanted to attend, so I did that at 7. It clashed with the usual time here, so and that was very enlightening. So it was time well spent continuing to try to learn and participate and contribute on the conversation. And that conversation was specifically around the lack of diversity in terms of Black coaches in the coaching space. I heard a quote as one of the panelists was sharing that they're between maybe 5 to 10%. I think it's 10% for ICF, which I believe is the International Coaching Federation, and they have thousands and thousands worldwide of coaches. And I think about only 10% of those coaches are African, or they say diverse. So, but I believe the number was specifically for Black coaches, and then maybe even a number for other coaching, maybe not necessarily federations, but other spaces where there is a coalition of coaching going on. So we are small in number. We are growing. This is a new concept. Coaching is to a lot of us, as I mentioned here many times already. And what my job here is to bring it closer to you, to bring it down to earth. Its tendency is for folks to think that it's very elitist and exclusive. And while it may have started out that way, a lot of us, people who look like me, who are in the coaching industry, to get even more people in to want to be coaches and to certify or be accredited or be credentialed by an accredited body, want to make this more accessible. So we want to make it accessible for people who coach, as well as those who can avail themselves of coaching. And so this is one of the ways, until we are able to do this in a broader way in the industry, that I am working to do that. And it's having these get-togethers on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. As I mentioned earlier, this was a special broadcast at 8 p.m., but it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time, as I continue to fine tune what this needs to look like for you. So hopefully you are benefiting from what I've been sharing so far, and I hope that you are open to giving your insights and suggestions about ways I could do this better, because I want to. I mean, it was just such a timely conversation that we were having this evening in that webinar, because we have to find ways to make sure that we can bring this value to people, everybody that needs it, and that they are able to afford to have it. And we find ways that we can offer it to you so that you can consume it. And so if you are new to me, my name is Diane Thomas, And I'm a certified high performance coach. I'm a personal development coach, certified in high performance. I love Black people, and this is my passion project is helping us get to elevated levels that are going to help us live lives of full engagement, joy, and confidence while we are rejecting the conscience of Black excellence and Black exceptionalism. We are exceptional and we are excellent within ourselves. We don't need to work within anybody's constructs. And I am actively in my active mindset and what I do, breaking down those constructs because we don't need them. They are shackling us, and they are definitely another form of white supremacy. That's just another way that it shows up for us, and we don't need to participate in that because we are empowered within ourselves to do the things that we need to do. So we're talking about empowerment a little bit more. Moving into that, I think more specifically tonight on this channel, as I mentioned before. So we do here live. We talk about various topics that help to have you learn or hopefully get some tips about how you're going to move in these spaces, the doing and the being, achieving while Black. So we talk about that on Wednesday nights here with varying topics. And on Saturdays, I post videos in the video section of this channel on specific topics having to do with high performance. And as a certified high performance coach, I help my clients or clients who are seeking clarity, who want to generate more energy, who want to demonstrate courage, who want to improve or increase their productivity, and who want to develop a level of influence in their lives. I help them do that, and I help them through a 12-week coaching program. It has a curriculum that's built into it. There's a lot of opportunities for you to share with me, for me to share with you, to help for you to build your levels of capability, and to get you to those levels, as I talked before, not so much the peak, because we know what the ups and downs look like, and that doesn't get us anywhere. We want to get to a space of high achievement and stay there. And that is what certified high performance coaching can help you do. So if you are interested, as you are liking and sharing this video, and hopefully also hitting the notification bell so you can receive the notifications when I go live. You'll also see in the description below an opportunity for you to apply for a free 1-hour coaching strategy session. That is going to give you an opportunity to get a taste for what this looks like for you for a limited time at no cost. And I guarantee that you're going to walk away with at least one tool or habit, concept, whatever, that you're going to be able to apply right away. I guarantee you that. So, tonight's topic, as we talked about, is on. This is going to be a series, so let me say that first and foremost. I just kind of finished a series of sorts. It's in the playlist here on this YouTube channel. So this is going to be on a playlist as well, and it's going to be called Do You Have What It Takes to Live Life Empowered? I may change the name of that. I think that's what it is right now. But what I wanted to do with this series is one of the things that I wanted to do with this series is give folks an opportunity to see for themselves and to explore for themselves what does empowerment look like, because we talk about that. When you hear Black empowerment, a lot of people think, Black Power movement, or, some collective activity that has us lifting our voices and pushing for change and advocating for the group with and so forth. And that is important to do, but, we don't do much if we can't start with ourselves and what we need to build. So, for our own selves and our own lives. And um, so one of the things that I wanted to do in this space is to help you, or this with this series, is to help you think about what empowerment looks like, and if you're acting or living an empowered life, or are you just kind of going with the flow? And so I did some thinking and a little research about what does empowerment look like? What does an empowered person look like? How do they act? Are there any specific markers for being empowered? And so there are some attributes that I discovered. Some of them I came across myself, I made up myself, just from my own many decades of life and the challenges that came with those. And then also with some research that I had done. So, but the first one we're going to start about in terms of attributes. So we're looking at what are attributes of an empowered person, is having you determine or look at the concept of confidence of self. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, we we were looking at New Year's resolutions, and we were looking at how we were going to make sure that we're able to extend our success with that past the period of time that a lot of people tend to drop off of the with that, which is usually after 6 weeks. So I had given you some strategies. We talked about a number of different concepts, and those are on the videos for you to check out when you have a moment on the replays. Um, but it really, when you look at what a resolution is, it's basically a goal, of course, as we talked about before, and it's no different than any goal that you would set at any other time of the year. We tend to look at doing those things at the end of the year because we missed some marks somewhere along the line between January and November, or January and December of the year that just passed. And so because we've done that, we are trying to see how we can make up for lost time, do a reset or redo, right? So that's what we look to the solution, the resolutions to do. But what we need to recognize, which hopefully you learned from some of the training that I gave last time, that is, you're not really going to see any different outcomes for yourself, and may suffer the same failure rates if you don't choose to do something different or something new, or you change within yourself. So you're either going to do things differently, or you're going to change within yourself, or both. Usually you may have to do. It's you really exercising or understanding that you actually do have control over your life, so you don't have to be held to your tendencies and what are the things that are not working for you. You don't have to continue to move in that space. You can actually make some real changes and take back control and feel empowered. So that's what we talk about here on this channel. As I mentioned before, it's really important for you to do that, because what I found in my work is the best clients are those who have that understanding. They have agency. They know that they can make a change within themselves, and they can do things and make different choices. And so it's easier to work with people who are already on that path and recognizing this is where I need to go next. This is the way I need to do things differently. But I do, so they're already motivated, they're already focused, they're already ready to face their fears, they're already receptive of the tough love that comes with hiring a coach and someone who is going to help them get to where they want to get to faster, which is essentially all that coaching is. It's helping you get some specific tools that you need so that you can shave down the time and the effort is going to take you to get to where you want to go. Essentially, that's what it is. And we all would, it's not a shortcut by any means, but it's definitely a different perspective for you to take so that you can get to where you want to get to a lot faster. Um, but I wanted again in this space because I recognize that a lot of people may come across these videos and they may not all be ready to face their fears. They may not all be very motivated um, and even receptive of tough love. They may feel, they get enough of that at work, or they get enough of that from their significant others, or they, whatever those spaces in that they feel challenged, they may not feel that they have the energy or the interest in moving forward, or they may not find don't know a way to do that efficiently. And so I really wanted to look at, well, it's not, I guess you can call it a checklist if you wanted to, in terms of attributes um, for you to kind of consider. And I'm going to go through each one of these attributes. There's several of them. So tonight we're just going to do one, but we're going to be doing a number of them over the next few weeks for you to look at and explore. So in terms of what I see that you would need to have to move forward. So um, I hope you're open to sharing some of your insights as well in terms of what you hear from me, because I am by no means saying this is the be all and end all, but I like in this space, if you've been joining me before, I kind of give you a little food for thought and then give you an opportunity to process through that and think about what other ways or what other ideas you may have to move in that space, because it's really all about you developing your empowerment sense, your empowerment muscle, and so that you can level up in the ways that you need to. But to get to that level of empowerment, it begins with confidence of self. So we're going to talk about confidence or self or self-confidence tonight. That's the first attribute that an empowered person needs to have. Um, Now, there are two types of confidence. There's self-confidence and confidence. Self-confidence is really having that understanding and knowing that you have what it takes. You're smart enough to figure out what you need to do. So that's kind of my loose definition of it. Um, you have the brains, you have the experience to figure it out. I can figure it out what needs to happen, and within um, a way that's going to be beneficial to me. So I feel that I'm capable of getting to whatever that outcome is that I'm looking for. Confidence more broadly is really a lot of times in a specific area. So it may be your certainty about your skills or your knowledge base or your abilities in some domain that you have. So you need self-confidence in order to be confident. So that's why we're starting with self-confidence, because once you have the self-confidence, everything else can come with it. So, for example, I wouldn't say I was always my confidence is at this point in my life pretty stable, but it hadn't been when I was much younger, as is the case with a lot of people. You develop confidence as a child as you're trying things, and as an adult you're testing out and testing boundaries and all those types of things as you grow. So as you grow and develop, your confidence tends to follow suit as well. So I can give one example, at least in terms of where I had to develop the self-confidence in order to have the confidence. And one of the areas was in careers. So I've had a couple of careers in my life, and one of probably the second career I had was in journalism and public relations. I used to work in that field for about 10 years. And so I was transitioning from that into fundraising, which was something I didn't know anything about. I was applying for a job at this place, and they at a nonprofit, and thought I was going to go in and get a job that I was applying for, which was for admin work. And I had done some typing and stuff, so I knew how to do that. Um, but I hadn't realized until I got in there that they actually had changed the job description, and they wanted someone to help them raise money. And I had never raised money before. But they said, well, we saw your resume and you've worked in journalism, public relations, marketing, communications. You can do this. And I was like, okay, well, if y'all think I can do it, but I didn't have the confidence that I could do it. But they saw something on a piece of paper, which was the truth. I actually did do those things. I didn't fudge my resume, but I hadn't done fundraising before. So I'm like, this is a new skill set, right? But I had the self confidence based on what I had already accomplished with my journalism and public relations career, because I didn't have direct education in that either. I learned that on the job. And in my mind, I was like, well, if I can learn that, I took a couple of courses, but I didn't have a degree in it. If I could learn that, I can most definitely learn how to do the fundraising stuff. So I said, okay, well, I'll go ahead and try this out and see how this comes, to pass. And it worked out pretty well for the spaces that I was in. I was able to get to a level of achievement in that field that I felt pretty proud about for the time that I was there. So one thing built on the other. I had the self confidence in myself and being able to figure it out, because I had to learn and I had to attend classes and training and workshops so that I could figure it out. But I did figure it out enough for me to actually hold on to the jobs that I did have for the period of time that I was there. So that's kind of an example, I guess, that I would give around that. I really find where for a lot of us, when we're in these spaces and we're being challenged, if for me it was a trial and error. I tried it. Some things worked, some things may not have worked very well. But both in the when I was doing the journalism and marketing communication stuff and in the fundraising, right? I had a I had to test my I had to check ego. So that's the first thing, right? You got to check your ego at the door when you're learning something new and being open to learning. And thankfully, I'm one of those people. I am not a know-it-all. I am eager to learn. I want to learn the right way to do things. And so I opened myself up for all the people and the spaces and opportunities for me to be in to learn. So I was willing to go through the tough, the go through my own personal fears, my own personal doubts, so that I could get to a space of affirmation for myself to say, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I think I can actually have an opportunity to experience something here that can actually change the trajectory of my life. And so I welcomed I welcomed the fear that I was feeling, because I knew that I was going to be able to cope with it. So that's I guess, what I recognized was that it's going to push an envelope and it's going to make me uncomfortable, but it's a discomfort that I wanted to feel. I wanted to have that experience. We hear terms about comfort zones all the time. I think we know what that is. In my estimation, tends to test our commitment to growth. So if you are willing to press those envelopes within that comfort zone, that's your ability, that's your action in terms of testing the limits, testing your commitment to growth. When you're in comfort zones, you have to consciously take yourself out of those spaces for growth. But there are also discomfort zones as well. And those tests, to me, this is again my assessment of all this, test your degree of the level of trauma, attachments, the unhealthy attachments that you may have, as well as self awareness. And as we're looking at self confidence and looking at comfort and discomfort, there is a distinction there, because we're going to get growth in both of those both of those situations, if we are focused on building our self confidence. Comfort zones are going to keep us comfortable, but is going to suppress our growth. Discomfort zones are harmful, straight out harmful. Um, and we can make discomfort zones comfort zones as well. Now, again, I'm not a therapist, so I'm not going to get a whole lot into that, but recognizing that that's something that can be, that should be considered anyway, as we're thinking about what self confidence looks like in our ability to figure things out. Because if something's new and challenging, either way, it's going to test our levels of commitment to moving out of our comfort zones, as well as moving out of our discomfort zones. So, we can shift out of these zones um, and towards empowerment a lot of times. And the determination around that is when we recognize that it hurts too much for us to stay where we are. And that's a personal choice, of course, and depending on what the thing is that you want to get done or what's important to you, whether or not you're ready or not, it's a decision that you're going to need to make. And once you deem that that price of the status quo, or the price of keeping things the way they are, is too high, usually that's the thing that's enough to spur us and move us out of those zones, whichever discomfort or comfort zones that we're in, and into new spaces. And our decision to do that is really our decision as we're to step in to level up our self confidence, and to really rely on ourselves, and realize that we're aware enough of what's going on with us that we know we need to do something differently. And not only that we know it, but we know that we can figure it out. And that's the thing that's the most important, I think, of all for us as Black people, especially, because we can tend to feel like victims in these spaces that we're in. We can tend to feel helpless. We can tend to feel like, well, this is just the way it is. It's always been like this. It was like this for my mom and my grandmom and whatever, whatever spaces that you're in. But you need to look at those opportunities, or those challenges, as opportunities. And the way that you do that is what you bring to it as a confident person in your own capabilities. So taking that action really that's what demonstrates the self confidence. And however it turns out, you are going to be able to build some degree of abilities and some degree of skills as you are challenging and pushing yourself and moving yourself into to new spaces and new opportunities. So hopefully that gave you some clarity or concept or perspective of thinking about self confidence, understanding that that is the first thing that you need for empowerment. You can't take control of your life if you don't feel you can figure your life out. And then in doing so, recognizing that you're going to come up against some self-imposed challenges, and those may just be those zones that you're in, the comfort zone that's preventing you from moving forward, or the discomfort zone that's preventing you from moving forward. Either one of them is not may not be serving you. So you need to decide whether or not they are serving you or not, or in what area you need to address those in specifically. So I have a couple questions here that I wanted to ask you around that level of empowerment, around confidence, that that can maybe help you determine how you can look at these concepts of self confidence for yourself. So, the first question is, can you think of specific examples or experiences that have led you to recognize the need for greater self confidence? So, is there some thing that has happened to you? There's some experience that you had, um, some opportunity that you lost, that you weren't able to take the most advantage of because you did not have the level of self confidence that you needed. And then the next question is, are there any self limiting beliefs or negative self talk patterns that you are aware of that you have? And if so, what are they? Now, this is a space where you can feel free to share if you want to, but if not, hopefully you can make a note of that. You have something to write with, hopefully nearby, that you can make a note of that. Are there any self-limiting beliefs or negative self-talk patterns that you are aware of? Now, I've mentioned in the space before about ants, and I think they're called I think that it's an acronym for adverse negative thoughts or something like that. It's a thing, right? And so we all, unfortunately, the scripts that we run for ourselves in our heads a lot are negative things a lot of the times. There are thoughts that evoke certain feelings that we may then feel is controlling us in ways that we don't feel we can overcome. So if there are any of that that's going on, think about what some of those may be and what they are, and maybe even why you think you might have them. And a lot of these things have been planted in you for ages, maybe from parents, from siblings, from other people, significant others, that they can be there, have been there for a really long time. And then thirdly, can you outline specific actions or strategies you plan to implement to boost self-confidence? So now understanding what self-confidence is, and it's really about you understanding that you can do hard things, and that you're smart enough to figure it out, whatever it is. You've already done it to get to as far as you have right now. Um, so, are there specific actions or strategies that you can implement to get to an even higher level of self confidence? And that may be even just looking more specifically at those um, comfort zones that are may be locking you into to spaces that you're afraid to move out of, even the comfort zones and the discomfort zones. And those things may also be contributing to the self limiting beliefs as well. So I'll run through those questions once again, and then I hope that maybe you have something you want to share. You can put it in the chat. If you're watching me on YouTube, Instagram, I can read your comments here as well if you'd like to do. I can see them. I don't have to read them, but I can see them here if you're interested in sharing that way as well. So once again, the first question, can you think of specific examples or experiences that have led you to recognize the need for greater self-confidence? That's the first question. Second question is, are there any self-limiting beliefs or negative self-talk patterns that you are aware of? If so, what are they? And thirdly, can you outline specific actions or strategies you plan to implement to boost self-confidence? Those are the three questions. And if you have any general ideas or comments about empowerment and maybe what you think that looks like for you, I'd love for you to share those in the space here as well. And if you're too bashful, I guess maybe you could put it in the chat after we get off. I would love to read them. I do read all the comments, or any comments that you put here, I will be reading. So just let me know if you have any ideas around that. I will share these questions because I know I just read them off, but I will put the questions in the description underneath this video. So that's all I have for you tonight. Once again, I do ask you to please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you will be alerted when I post a new video, which I do once a week, or when we go live here. If you have not and are interested in signing up to get email notifications, so that way I can email you directly, and that way you'll have what the topic is, and you'll have the link to the live. You can hit, there's actually an opportunity for you to hit the notify me button underneath the live so that you can get a ding when I do go live. You can use the link in the description to sign up for the email notifications as well. And then please remember you have that opportunity to apply for a free strategy session, free performance coaching strategy session. We all need an edge. That is what that's how I see performance. We all have expectations of us in the spaces that we're in, and we have expectations of ourselves in the way that we show up. And so it's not even a competition thing so much, even though that is important, that we prepared for that. But if nothing else, it's a self-competition. So how are you going to get to the better self, your better self this year than you had last year? And one major way to do that is through getting a coach. So even if you're only interested, there's a no strings attached, no obligation 1 hour high performance coaching session. If it's something you've never done before and you are curious about what it's about, this will be a great opportunity for you to learn and to learn something and have that experience at the same time. So I do encourage you to take advantage of that. So with that, if I have no questions or comments, I'm going to thank you so very much for your time and attention. I really appreciate your sharing and your time this evening, and hopefully you've gotten some benefit from it. Would love to hear about that in the chat and how it's helped you. So please don't be bashful in sharing your thoughts and insights with that. Okay. So with that, I bid you a good night. Please be safe and take care.